What's going on, Paranormal World? Season 29, Episode 1 of Ghost Adventures, The Poltergeist House Curse. So, this Ghost Adventure season kicks off with the investigation of one of the most iconic filming locations ever. That being the house used in the 1982's horror movie, Poltergeist. The episode starts off with great energy from the cast, Zach, Billy, Aaron, and Jay. They all look genuinely happy, so that was great to see. And as the Ghost Adventures crew is driving to the location, they take a deep dive into the house and the history and everyone that has been affected or died affiliated with this Poltergeist franchise. And we learned that 5 months after the first movie was released, one of the actors, Dominique Dunn, I think that's her name, was strangled to death. And in 1988, Heather O'Rourke passed away suddenly due to complications from a rare condition. And Poltergeist 3 was released 4 months after her passing. And 2 other cast and crew members passed away as well, Julian Beck and Will Sampson. But let me say this. I personally don't think that these deaths are related to the Poltergeist house or the Poltergeist movie. And I'm not sure why the Ghost Adventures crew is trying to push that narrative and make that connection. Because I'm pretty sure you can go through any movie and find the cast and find a whole lot of people who have died, who have passed away. You can find that. Furthermore, we learned that Steven Spielberg was using legit skeletons and skeleton remains during the filming of this Poltergeist movie. Which, this is taking filmmaking to a whole nother level, if I must say. And for a particular scene in this movie, a big old hole was dug in the backyard. Now, this is where the skeletons were dumped in and she was floating in the water or whatever like that. So, just imagine, Steven Spielberg had them dig a big trench in the backyard, disrupting all kind of stuff. And this is where I think that the problem of the hauntings came in, because apparently this neighborhood, this house, all of the surrounding area is built on sacred land. And Steven Spielberg just disrupted all of that. So I can only imagine, what was conjured up during this time. So as the crew begins to do these interviews, they interview the new owner of the property. Now, the previous owners of the property sold it after 45 years, and we learned that 3 family members have passed away in that home since then. Anyway, the new owner says that she's definitely experienced some paranormal activity, seeing shadow figures, feeling dark energy, and just overwhelmed at times. And as the crew is walking around the property, they notice some paranormal activity going on. Lights flickering, EMF detector having spikes, and one of the most creepiest things is them getting locked out the house. Yeah, so they were all outside and they were walking back in, and they found out that it was a deadbolt lock that had locked itself, so they got locked out. So that was kind of suspicious. So with all of this activity, this paranormal activity going on, Zach pulls out his EVP and he picks up someone saying died. And after that, he just walks outside and forget about the EVP session. He listened to the EVP and they talked about it or whatever, but he just left and went outside. Now, I'm not a ghost hunter, but wouldn't it make sense to conduct a whole EVP session if you're receiving evidence, especially evidence like that? I don't know. Maybe he did, or maybe they just edited it out. I don't know, but I just find that kind of strange that you didn't do a whole EVP session and you finding compelling evidence, but that's neither here or there. And shortly after all of that, they took some pictures, and we come to find out that the pictures had some type of purple mist to it. And, I thought that was kind of strange or whatever, but, Zach said he's not going to look too far into it being paranormal. And as the Ghost Adventure crew starts the lockdown, Zach Bagans brings in one of the dolls that was actually used in the Poltergeist movie. And he used this as a prop to try to trigger the spirits. Now, they have cameras set up in all the rooms, and, they really didn't capture anything spectacular, a couple of orbs, and I'll talk about another piece of evidence that they captured later on, but nothing really happened that I didn't think that was compelling. Anyway, they hear a faint child voice along with some knocking and moving noises. And do y'all mind me going on a quick rant right quick? what would a Ghost Adventure episode review be without a rant, right? But anyway, I've spoken on this in past videos, but it's not just Ghost Adventures, but all paranormal shows in general. It's too much unnecessary technology that they're using. I can't even keep up with it. I know they used at least 10 different types of technology to capture these ghosts or whatever in this episode, and I really can't keep up with it. All you truly need for a ghost investigation is an EVP and a camera. That's all you need. All that other stuff is pointless, especially if you know what you're doing. But hey, I'm sure Bill Chappell is making a lot of money off these paranormal shows. But yeah, man, I just had to get that out of the way because I just feel like all of this technology is really ruining these paranormal shows and paranormal investigation in general. But hey, that's just me. But leave a thumbs up if you agree with that. But anyway, Zach Bagans are, wrapping up the investigation, and him and Billy noticed that the doll had fell off the shelf. Now, I'm going to say this. I didn't think this was legit because one thing that I noticed was the doll was positioned differently earlier in the episode when it was being recorded. And at the end, when it fell down, it was in a different position. So the positions were, somebody messed with it, put it that way. And they said that no one had touched the doll or anything like that. So I just felt like that was kind of sketchy, and I didn't believe that. So I'm not sure if y'all believe that. Y'all can let me know down in the comment section below, but you might have to rewatch the episode and notice that, but I did. Anyway, overall, I just feel like the episode was okay. It wasn't nothing special. It was cool learning about the Poltergeist history and the backstory about that. And I just feel like, if that doll had fell over for real, it'll be all over the news and all over social media, especially with it being into Poltergeist house. So, something of that magnitude, that'll spread like wildfire. Anyway, one good thing I did like about this episode is they're listening to the fans because they actually explain everything that happened in the episode, everything. They gathered all the evidence and they went over it with the owner of the house. So, I like that because in previous seasons, the episodes just abruptly ending with no explanation. They didn't talk about the evidence. They didn't talk about, the people who own the property or whatever like that. The episode just ended. So I feel like they are, looking at fans' comments and maybe YouTube reviews or whatever like that. So that's a good thing because they're listening to the fans. But anyway, how did y'all feel about this 2-hour special of the Poltergeist house? Did you like it? Was it underwhelming? Did you actually think that that doll actually fell off the shelf on its own, or do you think it's a hoax? Anyway, if you love any and everything paranormal related, anything horror movie related, then make sure you check out my channel. I got a lot of content. If you like my videos, then make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can see every time I upload. As always, be safe. Peace.